When was the last time you purchased a house? Did you pay too much or too low? To find out, you probably divide the price of the property by the size of it. Then you go the price by square footage. With that number, you compare to similar properties that recently sold in your area, and if you feel comfortable, then you take the next steps. But what if you want to rent the property and then you get 2 or 3% NOI annually for the price you paid for the property? That will be considered a low yield for most commercial real estate investors. In other words, you paid too much. In this video, I'm gonna teach you the single formula most professional commercial real estate investors use to calculate the fair value of a property and if they paid too much or they got a bargain. So stay tuned to find out. Okay, so let's find out how to calculate the cap rate and the value of a property and what other variables influence the cap rate and to go up or to go down. Okay, so the formula is really simple. The cap rate equals net operating income of the property, the cash flows less expenses, and divided by the purchase price. Really simple. Okay, so to find the value, you just divide the NOI by the cap rate. Really simple. But this is a measure for the risk on the investment. The first thing we have to know about the cap rate is it is a measure for the risk of the investment. Okay, so it can go up or it can go down. So because it is a risk for the investment, it depends basically on the market. Okay, so for example, newer properties are less risk than old properties. So newer properties used to have a lower cap rate. Okay, better tenants, again, less risk. So better tenants, lower cap rate. In better markets, if you want to invest in Dallas and you compare to other small markets like maybe Waco or Laredo, Dallas will have a lower cap rate for the same kind of property. Another thing to take into account is multifamily almost always has the lower cap rate between other types of property. Why multifamily? Because it's the less riskier asset. Because people will always need a place to live in. Okay, so that's why multifamily has a lower cap rate. But lower cap rates are not always good, only when selling. Okay, because when you sell, you get higher value because cap rate is inverse to the value. Okay, so when you sell, you get a higher value if you have a lower cap rate. But if you are an investor and want to purchase a property, you are looking with higher cap rates because it's lower value. It's the opposite. Okay, entry cap rate versus exit cap rate. When we invest, we usually find two cap rates: when we purchase the property and when we exit the investment. Usually when we purchase the property, if we just take the core strategy and we just purchase and hold it and then sell it, we usually have a lower cap rate when we purchase and then a higher cap rate when we sell, because the property gets older, and since it gets older, cap rates get higher. We have to sell the property usually a lower price than when we purchase it. But we have to take into account that also the rents get higher. Usually, if the rents get higher and we got a higher NOI, that means we may obtain a higher price, but because of the rents, not because of the cap rate. And last but not least, the value can be also calculated by other methods, like the present value of cash flows. This is a more complicated method because it's not only a formula. You have to run all the cash flows on the investment. For example, if you are going to hold the property for 5 years, you are going to run all the cash flow for those 5 years and then take the present value of the property today. What will be the price to purchase that property if you take into account all the cash flows and bring it to the present? That's another kind of method, but the simplest one is the cap rate, and this is topic for another video. Okay, so in the next whiteboard I'm gonna teach you with an example how to calculate the cap rate and the value of a property. Okay, so let's do some math to try to understand how to calculate the cap rate and the value of a commercial property. Okay, so here we have a warehouse property in Dallas. The asking price for the property is $1.5 million. Annual rents, how much we get from the property. This is a core strategy. We are going to purchase the property, then hold it, and then sell it. Okay, so the property is already rent, cash flowing, and we got $100K a year. Okay, triple net leases. That means this is all NOI because the tenant is already paying the expenses. Okay, so the annual rent is the NOI. So we have 100K NOI, and to get the cap rate we have $100,000 and divided by the asking price, which is 1.5 million, and we have a 6.6% cap rate. Okay, so we make some research and find other properties that recently sold in the area, and we find they sold for a cap rate of around 7%. Similar properties, industrial, similar age, similar location, and they sold for 7% cap rate. So then we divide the $100,000 we have, and then we divide it by the market cap rate, which is 7%, and we get a new number to submit an offer. Okay, this is the fair market value of the property. So we make an offer a little bit lower than the 1.5 million the seller is asking for, and we make an offer for 1.43 million. Okay, so the seller accepts the offer, and now we have the property cash flowing. Okay, so what will be the exit cap rate when we sell the property? Remember, because we are in a core strategy, we are not making any improvements or anything. Usually the cap rate will decompress, will get higher. Okay, so that will mean if the rents are the same, that will mean we get a lower price than we pay for a property. But because the rents are growing 3% annually for the 5 years on the lease, then the final NOI at the 5th year it's around 116,000. Okay, so if we divide 116,000 by this number, by the cap rate, we get the sale price value of the property, which will be around $1.55 million. What will be the profit on the sale? Since we paid, since we sell for 1.55 million, and then we subtract the purchase price, and we have a profit of $120,000. That's just for the sale, and it doesn't count the cash flow of the rents. The thing is, even if the cap rate went higher, we can make a profit. Okay, because it's also influenced by the NOI. Okay, so this is the fastest way. Okay, so now you know how to calculate the value of a commercial property in a simple way with the cap rate. In this video, you learned a simple way to calculate the value of a commercial real estate property. But tell me, maybe you will do it in a different way. I would like to know how. Leave it on the comments. I read all the comments. And thank you for watching this video. If you reach this point, I'm pretty sure you like it. If you like it, please hit the like button. It helps me a lot. And if you want to subscribe and keep receiving notification when I upload a new video, hit the subscribe button, and that way you will get notified every time I upload a new video. If you want to start investing in commercial real estate, but maybe you don't have the time or maybe the money to start in, you can join my exclusive investor club. I find commercial properties all over the US for my investors so they can invest in from $20,000 US. So if you want to get notified every time I have a new property or a new deal, hit the link on the description to join my investor club. Thank you for reaching this point and watch the entire video. If you want to watch more videos from me, I will leave you with 2 more videos here.